This video, we're going to add AI to our Neovim. We're going to have a nice sidebar at the side here where you can ask things like code review. We're going to add AI suggestions to go along with the code review and also ways to accept or decline the changes. And even if you're feeling hip, you can even get it to run commands for you. Okay, so first things first, we're going to be using a plugin called Code Companion. Now, Code Companion has got loads of features built into it. I'm just going to demo a few bit at a time and we'll build out our config. Okay, so this is the default config setting up. We're going to be setting up our AI now. So as you can see, I've gone for Anthropic, add this here. So we're going to options, adapters, Anthropic, and then we're going to be extending the Anthropic adapters file to include the env API key. Now, if you want an API key, you just have to jump to your Anthropic dashboard and get the API key from there. I'll show you how to do it in a second. But you can also use any other AI. So I'm just going to show you some now. And here's just some of the models that you could choose instead. So obviously you got Anthropic, you got GitHub Copilot, you got Gemini, Minstrel, Llama, OpenAI, whatever you can imagine, you can usually do it. The only thing is that some things in this plugin aren't supported. We'll get down that later down the line. But most of the Claude ones and the OpenAI ones support everything in this plugin. So yeah, if we just jump into the API key creation here, we'll just call it delete me. Add that key here, copy the key, and then if we paste that API key in here, write the file, and I'll jump over to another project I have. So now if I do colon code companion chat, for example, and I say I want to use this buffer, so I'll use this buffer, and currently it adds to the count. Let's make it so there's a button to decrease the count, and then click enter to submit this. So as you can see there, it's passed in the context of the app TSX because that's the buffer we passed, and then it's just made some comments on the changes. Okay, cool. But you can also go a step further. You can do at, and then you have these different things. So, for example, full stack developer can run code, edit code, and modify files. Dangerous one. Editor can just update buffers. CMD runner means it'll run shell commands. Again, dangerous. And then same with the file system. Dangerous. I wouldn't just be willy-nilly accepting commands to put into the terminal from an AI. But anyway, let's say at editor, make the changes. And as you can see, look at this. So on the left here is the changes that it's suggesting to make. So as you can see, it's added a button in here, decrease count, which will do count -1. But as you can see, it's not perfect because it's forgotten a P tag right there. Okay, so now once the file is ready, you just do leader GA to accept the changes, and boom, just like that, it's added. And then if we just go to the project here, increase count, decrease count. So it does do as intended. Now, if we just jump in here, this is not a safe way to save our API key. Anything that could access this file across our system will have access to this API key, which, is a bit dangerous again. So there is ways to encrypt this so that only your system can access this. Now, in the documentation, it recommends using 1Password. Now, as far as I'm aware, 1Password is a paid service, so I'm going to show you an alternative. So I'm going to put the steps on the screen right now for you to just copy and go through to set up pass and GPG. And then once you follow them steps, come back here and you can use this next piece of config. So if we add this in here, so we're going to say API key is an empty string. We're going to go to the Anthropic API key. If it exists, then we're going to read it and put it in and then close the handle. And then we're going to extend and just use the API key variable that we set there. If you just jump into a project, go back to the chat, just make sure it's all still working the same way, and boom, it is. So now let's go a step further. Now, I don't know if you've noticed that this is actually rendering a markdown file. Let's improve the way this looks. If we had a plugin called render-markdown, and we're going to file type, markdown, and code companion. Now, if you do the chat, let me say hi. Looks much better. As you can see, it's got like different headers and things like that. And it'll just ultimately look a lot cleaner, especially when you start doing stuff that has loads of code in there. Now I'm going to show you another way you can use it, for example. So let's say if we say here, we can do colon and type a direct command in the thing. So we do code companion. Let's make a multiply. Now it's actually generating something here and it's starting to get the request. But what's the problem? We don't know what's even doing. It has done something, as you can see, but it did take quite a while. So obviously we'll do leader GA, we'll accept the changes, and it looks like it's done what it says. Look, it's multiplied by 2, fair enough. However, we didn't even know what it was doing during the time. So we're going to add something called fidget. So here's a little snippet you can copy from me. So if you just import fidget as a dependency, And then if we go down here, try and follow along. So we're going to get the progress from Fidget, which is just like a widget you can use. And we're going to set it up so it's, it's like a custom executable command. So when the user does a code companion request started, then it's going to have a message that says code companion and the message is thinking. Now you can add like an emoji here or something or anything you like. This is just like a basic setup. And then when it's finished, it's going to check the status. If the status success, it's going to say done. And if not, it's going to say fail. And that's literally it. So now if we write this file and we jump in now, and we just do the same thing we did before. So let's just go into here into these buttons and we'll say again, we'll do colon, code companion. Let's add a divide. And now as you can see in the bottom right down there, you can see it's thinking. And then when it's finally done, we'll see done. Now this is very important because, if you're working with a large buffer, you don't necessarily know how long it's going to take for a command. So it's obviously good to know how long it's going to last. And if we do leader GA to accept the changes and boom. So obviously you can use it for more advanced things than this. Let's talk about some more things. So now let's just give it some freedom. So let's do code companion actions and we'll say code workflow. And let's say we want it to be a full stack developer. Add some packages and we'll do /file app.tsx. So basically what I've done there is I've told it to be a full stack developer, add some packages and make this file/page look nicer. Let's see what it does. And boom, after some faffing around, this is what it's came up with. So it's added material UI, it's got a counter, plus and minus. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not terrible at all. But this type of workflow isn't my cup of tea. I like to do most of the code myself. But having the option to lean on AI when you need to by just simply accessing it in Neovim is great. So hopefully now you can add AI to your workflow in Neovim.